Misinformation is a big problem. Every day we get WhatsApp forwards with all kinds of lies or misleading information, and that is seriously warping our view of the world and our brains, right? It is important to understand how to fight this, especially with elections around the corner. Right?
Both here and in the US as well.
Yeah. Take some simple examples of misinformation.
Okay.
There was a recent forward going around about how microplastics are horrible for you, and that whenever you microwave a plastic container, you're ingesting microplastics.
Yeah.
Right? Complete misinformation, right? Check out our links for a great video by Krish Ashok debunking this, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, people think that jaggery is much healthier than sugar, right? The same amount of jaggery is going to give you the same amount of problems as sugar, right?
Absolutely.
They have done an entire episode on misinformation related to food, and also Krish Ashok has some great videos. Check those out.
Yes.
The entire advertising industry thrives on misinformation, okay? So for example, Britannia Milk Bikis do not have Doodh Roti Ki Shakti, okay?
Yeah.
They say that 4 biscuits have the same energy as 1 glass of milk. Technically true because of the sugar. They don't have the protein, they don't have the calcium, okay?
Yeah.
Dr. Batra's homeopathic treatment claimed that scientifically successful treatment on 1 million patients of baldness and vitiligo. Not true, right?
Yeah.
Imami Ayurvedic oil gives freedom from hair loss. Not true, right? Britannia 100% whole wheat bread. Would you like to guess how much whole wheat it has?
Not 100%, I'm guessing.
50 to 65%.
I am laughing at all of this, but the truth is that there have been very clear debunking of these. There has been very clear judgment from the Advertising Standards Council of India. We'll put links to all of those in the description. All of what he's saying is backed up by facts. But you know what? A lot of this is modern claims, sort of. There is also age-old wisdom that is still being accepted, and that can't surely be misinformation. Some of them are misconceptions maybe, but...
Well, see, I mean, don't assume that all of misinformation is just lies, okay?
Okay.
There are different categories, right? So the simplest category is people truly believe it, but they have been misled by coincidences, right?
Okay.
All of the belief in homeopathy comes from that, right? They have some disease like a cough or something, which was anyway going to get better.
Yeah.
Then they take homeopathic medicine and it gets better, and they believe that homeopathy cured them. Right?
Yeah. I don't know who said it or where I heard it, but basically something along the lines of, if you get cured after having something, there is no power in the world that will convince you that the last thing you had was not the thing that cured you.
Yeah, Tolstoy has said this.
There
correct.
you go.
Yeah.
See, that's why he's the boss.
The next level higher is a person who's misleading you without lying.
Okay.
How can this happen? If you just go and ask a BJP supporter, okay, how has BJP helped the country? They will give you a whole bunch of facts and figures about how the economy has improved.
Yeah.
Okay. If you go and ask an anti-BJP person, they will give you a whole bunch of facts and figures about how the economy has gone down in the dumps since BJP took over.
Yeah.
Both sets of facts and figures will be true.
Yeah.
Right? What is happening is just selective presentation of truth, right?
Yeah.
By just showing you one set of facts, this side can prove they're right, and by showing a different set of facts, the other side can show they're true, right? And so this is, I mean, intentional misleading. It is not coincidence, but they're still not lying. Right?
This is kind of like disinformation, but from a personal standpoint, each one of them believes that they are doing the right thing.
Correct. Yeah. The third category are the actual liars, right? Like Baba Ramdev. And everything he says about the miracle cures is usually a lie. Okay?
Channel band karwaega ye. But it is important to fight BS and misinformation. So how do you spot misinformation is the basic question now, because you've given me 3 categories, but how do I spot which is which?
So there has been some research, right? Most of us believe that, oh, misinformation is difficult to spot. That's why everybody is getting conned. But in reality, that's not true.
Okay.
If you just tell people that I want you to look in this and tell me what is misinformation, most people are able to spot the misinformation correctly, right?
Oh.
I have taught classes on misinformation to 12 to 14-year-old students, and with the little help from the internet, all of them have been able to spot misinformation without any problems, right?
So what do you teach them in these classes usually?
First of all, ask yourself, is this too good to be true?
Okay.
Right? Very likely that it is misinformation.
If
right?
it is too good to be true, it is not true.
Similarly, is it too bad to be true? Right? Third is that would someone love for this to be true? Right?
Okay.
Right? And it can be you.
It can be someone else.
You look at something and you say, oh my God, this is, you want it to be true. You want to forward it to your friends.
I wish this were true.
Right. Usually real life doesn't give you such an easy, juicy thing, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, it could be, you can imagine a toxic person somewhere. And if that person wants it to be true, there's a good chance it's misinformation, right?
So someone's standing to gain from it in some way.
Right. Right. So,
that's okay.
So just, whenever you see some piece of information and you instinctively feel like forwarding it, or you instinctively hate it, right? Ask yourself a bunch of these questions.
Is it too good to be true? Is it too bad to be true? Is there someone who wants it to be true? Do you want it to be true? And does someone gain from it in some way? 5 questions.
Correct.
If the answer to any of these 5 questions is yes, then what do I do? Is it misinformation?
Not necessarily, right? You have to dig deeper. So far, you have just decided that it is suspicious, potential misinformation. Right?
Okay.
The first thing to do is decide if it is important.
Okay.
Okay. You will come across so many pieces of information every day.
Yeah.
You can't go down rabbit holes for each and everything, right?
Correct.
Most of the things are not important. Ignore them and move on.
Correct.
Only for the important ones, you go down to the next level, right?
Which is?
Question the motives of the source, right?
Okay.
Who originated that or who forwarded that, right?
Correct.
Either ask yourself, are they misguided or are they trying to persuade someone? Are they trying to impress someone or are they trying to evade something, right?
Oh, okay. So are they misguided or are they misled or are they trying to mislead?
Misleaders, they're trying to persuade, they're trying to impress, they're trying to evade.
So that's almost disinformation category.
Correct.
All right.
Also, question your motives for wanting to believe something to be true, right?
Right.
Do you want it to be true? Is this like an easy way out for you out of a difficult situation? Is it because you know that the sender can't be a liar?
Trust in the sender is important, yes.
But even if the sender is not a liar, are they the type who might be mistaken? Right? Do you want to believe it because your tribe, the people you admire, believe it?
Group conformism.
Right? So ask all of these questions. Then stop and think. You have to involve your system 2 brain. Okay?
Oh, yes.
Check out our episode on system 1 versus system 2. Okay? System 1 is very easy to get misled by misinformation. Most misinformation does target your system 1.
Yeah.
When you engage system 2, usually it reaches the right conclusion, right?
Correct.
And it's very easy to check using the internet, right?
Correct.
You can check for sources like snopes.com, which gives detailed analysis of what is true, what isn't. There's a whole bunch of other fact-checking websites. Check what the Wikipedia has to say about this topic. Even though most people believe that Wikipedia can be wrong, there's an entire episode we have done on how Wikipedia is pretty reliable in practice, right? Or even ask on a group where there are people who would know which parts are misinformation and which are not.
Check with authority, check with experts, check with people who actually know the subject of whatever it is that you are being suspicious about.
Correct. Most importantly, when in doubt, don't forward until you have figured it out, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
That is the most important part.
Yeah.
So you did give us examples of good fact-checking websites, but are there any examples of good sources that you can immediately trust?
In general, if you see an article about something, right? How do you know it is true or not? Look for whether there are good arguments or bad arguments in there, right? Good is arguments that are based on science, maths, data. Okay?
Right.
And usually these arguments are going to be boring.
Yeah.
They're going to sound like a textbook that you are trying to run away from, right?
Yeah.
There will be complex. Most of the time, good arguments will not be surprising.
Yeah.
Okay. And finally, good arguments will have lots of maybes.
Yeah.
Not entirely sure, right? And the opposite is bad, right?
Yeah.
Bad arguments are based on emotion, most important. Faith, right? They're trying to make you angry or they're trying to make you afraid,
Yeah.
right? A lot of politics, a lot of the arguments will be us versus them. You know, those people, they always XYZ, right?
Yeah.
So bad arguments will attack the person instead of attacking the argument.
Yeah.
Okay. They would be like an evocative story, right? We did an episode on the power of storytelling.
Yeah.
Check that out. I mean, this is part of the evil power of storytelling. These will be very simple arguments and it'll hit you with a surprise, right?
Yeah.
With a very clear message.
I can now see why so many of the people I have stopped being in touch with, how they fell into the deep chasm of misinformation, deep hole of misinformation.
Yeah.
Can I do anything about them? Can I sort of bring them out of that pit of misinformation that they have fallen into?
Yeah, so I think, I mean, it's not easy to do, but one of the most important things to keep in mind there, right, is that you have to be kind. Okay.
Yeah.
Trying to attack somebody like this directly, research shows that it has the exact opposite effect. Okay, it's called the backfire effect. Actually showing somebody data, proving beyond doubt that it is wrong, does not result in them changing their mind. It results in them digging in their heels and becoming even more strongly in favor of their mistaken belief. Okay?
Don't I know it?
Instead, try to focus on getting them to step back and involve their system to brain. Instead of trying to focus on why is this wrong, try to focus on why do you want to believe it, right? Sort of, I mean, but it has to be a long and non-threatening discussion.
Yeah.
It can't be adversarial. That never works.
Yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of the internet right now is extremely adversarial, where you tend to make an opinion on something, sometimes purely by instinct, sometimes purely on half-baked information, and then that becomes the hill you want to die on.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is that Twitter, Facebook, all of these, right, and WhatsApp, of course, is a lot of system one thinking going on, right? Thoughtlessly, you just forward very quickly the first thing that comes to your mind. And there are lots of evil people in the world, advertisers, politicians, and others who are sitting there weaponizing your system one instincts and misusing them. Right?
Listen, don't put advertisers in that category, because A, I am part of that industry directly or indirectly. B,
I'm not saying all of them, right? I'm just saying within them there are a whole bunch of evil people.
No, you can actually say all of them, because I know how that industry works. A lot of it is also that way because I think the burden of proof has shifted to the person who we are forwarding to rather than us ourselves, because we assume that they will filter it out at their end.
Oh, this is the forwarded as received argument.
Yeah.
Right? No, so I think we need to take on responsibility of not forwarding things which could be misinformation. When in doubt, don't forward, and when not in doubt, doubt. Right? First,
please doubt, always doubt, or as the common meme on Twitter today is, hesitate, please. So the overall message of this episode seems to be doubt, hesitate, don't forward as received. That's important.
So I think the important thing to know is that even kids can separate misinformation from information if they just put a few minutes into it, right? And research has shown that everybody can do it.
Yeah.
So it is just important to realize this fact, that slow down and check things out.
Yeah.
And second is that it is not necessary to forward everything, right? Just forward things that are important and known to be true.
So forward this episode to everyone you know and help fight misinformation.
If you liked this episode, check out our other episode on the Barnum effect, or how astrologers fool you and how you fool yourself.
Yeah, please do. Shrikant, Naveen, futureiq, fighting misinformation.